for the speak for the timer, I'll shoot at 7 minutes. It's kind of an arbitrary number. Independence Day. Independence Day is the day we celebrate our freedom from our mother country, the great England. We broke free to bravely and courageously to a new country to attain our liberties and freedom that we hold held dear. Today I want to talk about your Independence Day. There is one singular goal that virtually every adult in the Western civilization aspires to. That's retirement. Retirement is something we aspire to for our own personal freedom. But I believe that most of us think of or strive to reach retirement with the wrong ideas in mind. See, retirement isn't an age. 65, 67, 55 if we're ambitious. Retirement is an income. It doesn't matter how long you've been around, how long you've had to work. It really matters is if you have an asset or some resources coming in that will sustain you during your time of retirement. So, if I can help rephrase or re-image this idea of retirement today, I'll go forward. Because one thing when I think about retirement, I think of final destination. It's kind of this just doesn't sit right with me. Something about retirement, the idea, it's supposed to be this time of great freedom, right? A great liberty, time to do what we finally want to do and not have to be bound by the schedule of our job. But retirement, think about the word to retire. I don't know, something about that just seems lackluster, if I can say. Something about it really seems, to retire to what you find in your resting place, maybe your final resting place. One thing I've heard that many people, once they retire, they actually pass away much sooner because they don't have not something that they're living for, striving for. I don't know what your goals in retirement. What do you think about? Is it, house shoes every day, your robe, and soap operas? I don't know. That's not something that I fancy. Well, if I think retirement, I really don't want to think retirement. I want to think freedom. I want to think about my Independence Day, when I can enjoy my own independence. If you think about it that way, it reminds me of something that I was told once. The difference between most people who have become financially independent is the difference between renting and owning. See, most of us think about like home ownership, renting versus owning, and we believe that most middle class people who might be framed or classified as middle class as, to rent is you're throwing away your money. If you own, you want to own the house, and at least that way you're building up some equity. If 30 years down the road, worst case, you have something, you can sell it and get some money back. You get something in return for your investment. When you rent, you give out 30 years, 40 years, however long, and they send you on your way. You find another place. Nothing in return. And I was told that the difference between the wealthy and the poor or the middle class is this same very idea, renting versus owning. See, people who reach their goal of independence or retirement, they're people who own. There are people who become financially independent. They create or amass some financial assets that will allow them to live without the burden of a job. They own a job. They don't have a job. Maybe they own a job. That means they're business owners. That means even further than being self-employed, they own a structure that people work with them and for them, so that they can have some freedom and not have to show up to work every day. If they need a vacation, it's not just 2 weeks paid vacation. They have someone that can keep things going when they're away. The difference between middle class, the poor, and maybe the wealthy is business ownership. The difference between maybe reaching retirement and freedom is ownership. And see, and this is something that I faced recently, and something I've heard and I faced recently because I have a job. I don't know about you, but I do. And it's something that is against or is in direct opposition to some of my goals. Because my wife and I, we haven't started having children yet, but we want to be able to raise our own kids. If we both have jobs, we'll have to give that, export that to someone else. So we're looking to have our freedom, renting versus ownership. See, having a job for, say, 30 years, it's like you get a paycheck every week, bi-weekly, monthly. But what do you have to show for it once it's all said and done? If you have worked hard and put away some money, then maybe you've amassed a sum of income you've invested so that you can reach that golden retirement and have a parachute. But what I found out, the vast majority of people who reach this time of independence in their life, and not just in the later years, but something they can enjoy the majority of their life, is they own. They not only own their own houses, they not only own their own job, which is their own business. You know, they own their own time because they have the liberty, the freedom to go and come as they please. I think this independence can only come at the rate that I'm seeking it, is if you learn to own. There's a dream out there. There's the American dream, which some people feel that is maybe fading away. And then to reach that dream, that American dream, we look towards maybe what you could call the corporate dream. See, what most of us are taught is you go to school, work hard, get good grades, so that you can get a good job, and maybe you'll have a good life. But personally, I'm starting to feel that that corporate dream, that dream is not working out for my generation like it did for the past generation. There are many things that I believe are broken with the corporate dream, but that's not the topic of discussion today. What I really just want to share is there's a freedom to be reached for. There's a freedom to be gotten. That's the exact same freedom that our forefathers got when they left their home country. They didn't look for a job. There was no job waiting for them. There was nothing already laid out for them. They had to be brave. They had to be courageous. I'm sure they were terrified, just like I am and my wife is, as we now are venturing out to seek a business for ourselves. She's starting a baton twirling group. It's something that she's very familiar with, and it's something she can impart into young girls and do something that she loves. And I'm venturing towards the financial services industry so that I can break free and stand on my own 2 feet. I'm terrified, but it's something that I want much more than, and it's much bigger than my fear, and that's my freedom. When will your Independence Day be?